Okay, so this is spec point 1.5, which is atherosclerosis. So the first thing to know is, where does atherosclerosis happen? So here I've got pictures of cross sections of artery veins and capillaries. And atherosclerosis is always happening in the endothelium, and you need to make sure that you mention that in your answer. Okay, so here, don't worry about the fancy names, you just need that it's the endothelial layer. So can you see that it's that red layer around the inside there? On the vein, again, it's that red inner layer. So there's our endothelial cells. And in the capillary, they actually only have endothelial cells. Now, what we are looking for in an exam answer usually is that atherosclerosis happens in the endothelium, okay, of an artery. Of an artery. Okay, so that's kind of the first thing. Where is it happening? The second thing is what's happening. So here's our picture of our artery. This is our normal artery with a nice big lumen in the middle. Look how wide that lumen is. This is an artery that's got atherosclerosis, and you can see that the size of the lumen is much smaller. Okay, now the thing that people often get stuck on is that when they get a question that's about atherosclerosis, they start talking about all the clotting and everything and the whole blocked artery. And actually, atherosclerosis is just this process that's in the artery wall. And it's really important that we say that it's in the artery wall, okay, not just in the artery. So it's atherosclerosis, is obviously the name of it. So you need to know that. The next thing is we need to know that it happens in the artery wall, right, which is in the endothelium layer. Okay, so be really, really specific. In your language, they want you to say in the artery wall. Um, so what happens is when you get atherosclerosis, first of all, the endothelial layer gets damaged. Okay, so endothelial layer gets damaged. What then happens is you get some kind of inflammatory response. So what that means is that white blood cells move to the area. Once you've got lots of white blood cells in the area, it leads up to the formation of a plaque. Now, the plaque is what we can see in this diagram here. You can see that it's labelled, oops, sorry. Oops. Oh no, what am I doing? You can see that it's labelled plaque there. Okay, so that yellow stuff there in the artery wall, making it narrower, that is the plaque. Okay, so here we're saying that we're getting the formation of this plaque, the formation of this yellow part inside the artery wall, of which is called the endothelium. So the plaque formation is called formation of plaque, which is called an atheroma, which is obviously where the kind of the origin of the word is sort of coming from. All right, but we need to get the word plaque in our answer, and we're going to try and get the word atheroma in our answer. Okay, now what that's going to cause to happen is it's going to narrow the blood vessel. Okay, that means that you're going to get less blood going through, and therefore you're going to get less oxygen going through. It's always worth talking blood and oxygen because then that leads on to respiration, etc. But if we're squeezing the same amount of blood into a smaller volume, so if the blood vessel's getting narrower, we're getting a smaller volume, that's going to increase the pressure. All right, so having a narrower blood vessel is reducing the volume, which is going to increase the pressure. Just like when we were talking about cardiac cycle in the heart, we talked about how when we had atrial systole, ventricular systole, we always said decreases the volume, increases the pressure. It's the same thing here. We narrow the blood vessel, we get a smaller volume, so we increase the pressure. So with an increased blood pressure, which is what we've now uh, got, that's going to have other consequences. Obviously, increased blood pressure is going to cause damage elsewhere, and it's a bit of a vicious cycle because then you're going to cause even more damage to the endothelial layer. It's also worth saying that when we're forming the plaque here, sorry, I should have said, it's made of fatty deposits and cholesterol are usually the main things that they want you to mention. Okay, so that's it really. That's atherosclerosis. Don't get mixed up and then start talking about a blood clot attaching itself onto the wall of this, the edge of this. That happens later, and we'll get to that in a later spec point. Okay.